Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Chun Shing Kwok, and I'm a Cardiology Registrar and Academic Clinical Fellow in Cardiology. And this is my video on how to get started in medical research. The reason why I'm doing this is because research is something I'm passionate about, and I've met countless bright people who've had negative experiences with research, and I hope that by watching this video you'll have a more positive experience with research. What I'm going to do today is show you 5 key points, and these 5 key points are what I wish I would have had when I first started. So the first point is, choose your supervisor rather than your supervisor choosing you. Oftentimes someone will come up to you and say, I have this fantastic project, I just need a little help with it. It could turn into a research publication, an opportunity to present in a national conference. It'll be great for your CV and for your job applications. What do you think? Well, it all sounds great, but what you should be thinking about is, can this supervisor support or help you? Do they have time to spend with you to go through the research process? If they're, for example, supervising another 20 or 30 students, do you think they'll have time to look after someone who's new, who might struggle? At the same time, do you think about the project itself? Is this something that excites you? More often than not, people come into obstacles when they do research. And if it's something that you feel passionate about, chances are you'll have the motivation to get over the problems. At the same time, you should ask this potential supervisor, will this project be funded? Funded projects have several advantages. The first advantage, of course, is that you're paid for it. The second advantage is that funded research has often been reviewed externally by others, so the methodology is a lot more credible. And at the same time, the funders of the research will expect the applicants to deliver on the research. You're more likely to have a positive output. So it'll be almost a win-win and maybe another win situation. The next point I want to talk about, the second point, is make contact with tons of people, and this will increase your chance of finding a good supervisor. When I first started out in medical school in my first year, I asked over 24 people, and I didn't get any positive responses or opportunities. I did the same thing in my second year. Not surprising, I didn't get any opportunities. It wasn't until the summer of the second year that my first year PBL tutor came back to me and said, I've got some funding from a charity to do a project. Would you like to work in my lab this summer? And that summer I worked in the lab. It was great. I got paid through this charity to do some lab work, and I learned a lot of important lab skills, and I got a publication at the end of it, which was a fantastic experience. By now you might be wondering who that lady is in the picture. Well, if you haven't guessed it already, that's J.K. Rowling, and she's famous for the Harry Potter series. If you get a chance, Google her and have a look at the number of rejections she's had for the Harry Potter series. She deserves every single ounce of success she has earned. The next point I want to talk about is, think about what skills you might gain from doing this research. Okay? Even at the early stage of developing the project. So for clinical work, it's a good idea to get some kind of training like good clinical practice, but there's also other research methodology trainings that you can receive, and you should ask this potential supervisor at this early stage. At the same time, you can learn important skills like how to guide a project through ethics or peer review, how to acquire data, how to analyze data, and how to disseminate the findings, whether it's presenting in a conference or writing a scientific publication. There are a lot of important skills, like simple as how to write a manuscript, and you should ask this potential supervisor whether they're able to provide you with these knowledge. The fourth point I want to mention is, does the supervisor have a track record? And it's really important to think about this. So we all know that someone who's more famous, has lots of publications, has lots of grants, is probably a better supervisor than someone that doesn't have that kind of track record. However, in my opinion, there are other few key important points. First, in terms of publications, the only publications that sort of count are those where your potential supervisor is the first author or the last author, because oftentimes people can then complete a project doing all the work for developing the project and add additional authors just for having critical revisions without actually doing the bulk of the work. The next point is that for someone to be research active, I think they should have a certain number of publications, and in my opinion, about at least 4 publications a year, which is like 1 publication every 3 months, suggests someone's active in research. Finally, the quality of the journals where someone publishes is really important. And there's an objective measure of this called the impact factor, which every journal has. This is a measure of this dissemination and the impact of articles that come out of that journal. So what you can do is you can Google this potential supervisor, find out some information about them, and then you can search on PubMed, for example, using their last name and the first initials to find out their publications, and then search those journals to see what kind of impact they produce. This will help you better identify a good supervisor. This final 5th point is very, very important, and this is to ask people who are already working for this potential supervisor and for advice. You want to find out, are they having a good experience? Do they like being supervised by the supervisor? Are they succeeding in their research, and are they going to conferences and publishing? The reason for this is that if you're going to work for this potential supervisor, more than likely you will be like them. So if they're having a good time, you'll probably have a good time. If they're not having such a good time, then you might struggle as well. And if you can, find out if they can actually support you if you take on the project. When you first start out, it's a daunting task, just lots of things to learn. And having someone there to help guide you through this will make it a lot easier process. So in summary, the top 5 points I would suggest is, number 1, you want to choose your supervisor rather than have your supervisor choose you. You want to ask tons of people for opportunities, so that'll increase your chance of finding a good supervisor. Third, you want to think about what skills or things you would acquire from doing this research project. Fourth, you want to consider the track record of the potential supervisor. And finally, you want to talk to someone who's already working for the supervisor, whether they're having a good experience or not. Thank you very much for listening to my talk. My name is Dr. Chun, Shing, Kwok. There are my contact details. And feel free to send me any comments, suggestions for future videos. Please like my video, and I wish you every success with your research. Thank you.